Hello, Chameleon Wranglers. Welcome to an entirely new week that we have never ever seen before in the history of humankind and will never see again. And so on that philosophical note, well, let's start it off with some chameleon goodness. First thing we're going to do is walk by Spearman's cage, and we're going to notice that he is on his request stick. And if you remember, I have this thing where if I walk by and he is up on a certain perch out there out in the open, then he gets silkworms. And I'm doing this experiment to see if I'm able to train him to ask for silkworms. And well, it looks like it's going okay so far. I don't know if he's saying, okay, why is there silkworms? I will take them. Or if he's finally getting to the point where he's saying, hey, this is where I asked for silkworms. We'll see. It's an experiment. And well, I'm having fun with it. Well, Spearmint is on his stick, and I make it a point every time I see him on that particular stick, he gets silkworms. There we go. So just rewarding a certain behavior. And I'm trying to make it so he goes to that stick to request silkworms. Nice. Got both of them. Good job, Spearmint. And of course, we can't leave anybody out. Wintergreen is my female Shamrock Chameleon and is hidden way into the back of the cage. And so I can't see her. And I'm just going to be putting my hand out with some silkworms, and I'm going to see what happens.
So I can't see her. I have no idea if she sees me or how she's going to react to that mass of silkworms. Oh, there we go.
Okay, with the morning Kaluma chores done, I am going to turn my attention to Daisy. If you remember, Daisy is my female carpet chameleon who is new here. And so I'm going to be going through some of the acclimation steps that I go through and taking you along with me. Today, we're going to do a physical assessment on Daisy. And let's see, we'll go ahead and bring up this chart here. This is a chart. This is a list of the things that I check. So let's just go ahead and go into it. First, is she alert in the cage? A healthy chameleon will always be alert as long as the lights are on, with her eyes moving all over the place, scanning the cage, moving. They don't necessarily have to be bouncing around the cage, but being comfortable moving and exploring. So that is healthy. What I am hoping I don't see is that she's lethargic or spends time with her eyes closed. And the reason why I call this alert in the cage, this is something that I'm going to do before I disturb her. I am going to do this test by coming into the room and just observing how she is when there's no one around. This is when the chameleon will settle down. There's no adrenaline running through their system. And if they are feeling unwell, they will close their eyes and they will rest. And so you've got to catch them in the act. And so that's why it's alert in the cage. Okay. Luckily, Daisy is not showing any negative marks there. She is alert. She is moving around the cage. And yeah, when I put my hand in, she actually gapes and I guess hisses, breathes menacingly at me. So I guess that's what chameleons do, at least the carpet chameleons. So alert in the cage is 2 thumbs up. We're going to say alert. Eating test. This is where I want to make sure that the chameleon's tongue works. And I do that by putting something in the cage, of course. This is the easy one. And just watching to see if they eat it on their own. Sometimes the challenge is for a wild caught is that they won't eat while they see you. So you have to be patient while you do this. Now, what I am hoping is that she will see something good to eat and she will zap it and eat it. And that is passing the test 100%. Failing the test looks like where they put the tongue out and then they miss. That could be dehydration. If we're talking about a captive hatched, it could be metabolic bone disease. There's something going on. There could be an injury. Anything. There could be anything going on. But if there is something going on with eating, you want to know about it. So luckily, I have observed her eating. She does not have a problem with that. Her tongue works fine. Oh, I'm so glad about that. The stick walk. This is where you put your chameleon on a stick in front of you and you watch them walk. A healthy chameleon will have their body held up from the stick, and they will be able to navigate the stick at a pretty good clip. This is what they were designed to do. What you are hoping you don't see is that they don't feel confident on the stick. They can't grab the stick, or else their legs won't hold them up. This is more common in captive chameleons, like especially veiled chameleons that have metabolic bone disease. And if you start seeing where they can't hold themselves up with their legs or the legs bow, and this is where metabolic bone disease often starts. It's in the legs because they are constantly under stress of holding the body weight. So you usually see metabolic bone disease in the legs first. So this is the test we use to make sure that there's no metabolic bone disease in our chameleons. Incredibly rare. I don't know that I've ever heard about it in a wild-caught chameleon. But if we're going to be using this test, and this is something that you can use partially at a reptile show before you purchase a chameleon, then please use it. Now, of course, alert in the cage. You're not going to be able to do that in a reptile show because they're all hopped up on adrenaline. But you adjust it to whatever situation you've got. Okay, skin check. Looking here, I'm looking for anything on the skin that shouldn't be there, whether it's mites, ticks, subcutaneous nematodes, as in worms under the skin, cancers, burns, fungal infections, all of these gross things that you don't want to find. But it's important that you look for them to see what might be there. Now, there is something that to look for is when the skin is black or yellow, a sickly yellow, and these are colors that aren't supposed to be on the skin. And those can be indications of internal trauma. So you've got to be very careful about sickly looking colors. Now, she is showing some black, but that's normal coloration for a gravid carpet chameleon, and it's got all her patterns and her colors in it. So this is not a problem at all. When we say black, we need just like a gross, sickly black or yellow thing that seems to be spreading. I mean, you know it when you see it. You go, oh, this is gross. But luckily, she does not have any of these things. So skin check on Daisy is that her skin is completely free. I see no external parasites, and I see no viral or fungal or any other thing that would make me worry or have to go to the vet and figure out what that is. So she gets full marks on that one. When you do this, also make sure you know what shedding looks like. The first time someone sees a shed on a chameleon, it often freaks them out. And breeders will know. A common question they get from first-time keepers is, well, why is my chameleon lost all the color? Why is my chameleon exploding? And it looks like a horrible thing when you don't know what it is. Feet and tail, very important, especially for wild caught and captive. So you want to check their feet to make sure that there's no broken toes, ripped out fingernails, toenails. That is something for you to know about. They will never grow those back, but it's not gonna. They can live a good life without their nails. Now, but if they are missing the nails, you need to make sure that whatever happened is an old injury and is not infected. So you want to look at those toes and see if they're swollen. Look at the ankles. Make sure they can use each one of their feet, hold up their weight with each one of their feet, and the tail is fully functional to the very end of the tail. I know in captive hatched, especially in chameleons that have been raised in groups, you can get these nipped tails where the cage mates will have nipped their tails and literally bitten the end of their tail off. That chameleon will be able to live a whole wonderful life with a nipped tail, but at least you now you know what kind of conditions your breeder raises their babies in. So you got to watch for that. Watch for any swelling around the wrists. Essentially making sure all the feet and tail work. On the tail, if you have like that sickly black again, you will often have kinks in the tail, especially on wild caughts. The feet and tail check is especially important on wild caughts because sometimes they are taken off of the tree in a not so gentle manner. This was very common years ago. It's not that common now. The ones that we have coming in now are from trappers that are experienced and know how to take care of chameleons. And so things have gotten a lot better in that respect. But it's a good thing for you to check. As far as Daisy, every one of her feet and her tail check out with no damage whatsoever. So I'm very, very happy about that. The next one is the mouth check, and this can be tricky. This is where you want to see the inside of the mouth, and you want to see if there's any swelling, any green or other kind of pussy things inside the mouth. If the dental arcade, as in the teeth, are undamaged. I mean, literally, you can have the teeth dental arcade detach from the jaw. It's pretty horrible, but it can happen. And so you want to make sure that there's no infection, stomatitis, and that the dental arcade is not damaged. If it is damaged, make sure that it is healed. So a chameleon can go through life with a damaged dental arcade, but you got to make sure that there's no active infections going on. Okay. Daisy, I will say I don't have that check yet. I haven't seen inside of her mouth yet. The outside looks okay, but I still need to see the inside. So I am going to have to, for mouth check, I am going to have to be saying the external checks out. The internal is to be determined. So I think what I'll do, maybe I'll go over right now and I'll just try to hold her. I mean, okay, let's do it. Let's sit here. Let's do it on camera. So I go over and I hold her. I don't like holding her, but I'm going to do that. And she'll either gape at me when I'm holding her, or when I put my fingers on either side of her mouth or her head, that usually gets chameleons to gape and open their mouth, and we can see what's inside. All right, Daisy, it looks like you have a clean bill of health as far as your mouth check. So that's good news. That's good news. All right, poop check. We need poop. And the poop's going to tell us a lot of things. It's going to tell us the moisture, how hydrated she is. And it's going to give us an indication if there's anything crazy going on the inside. Sometimes diarrhea will let us know that there's something wrong on the inside. And it could be anything from parasitic to whatever. We want to check to see if there's any blood in the stool. That's an indication of a serious problem. Hopefully we get a nice, hydrated, firmly packed brown little biscuit of sorts. Daisy has given me a pretty kind of, it's not a diarrhea-ish, but it's a pretty wet, small poop. So I'm not really happy with what she has produced so far. In fact, it was so little that to do a fecal analysis on it, I could only do the smear. There wasn't enough for me to put into the fecal tube to do a float. So for poop check, I'm going to say 50%. I'm going to say still need to observe. Fecal analysis, though, I did get enough to do a smear. And when I looked inside the smear, I did not see nematode eggs. I did not see coccidia, but I did see a heck of a lot of flagellated protozoa. So And there was a lot, to the point where I'm going to have to give her medication. And I have to make the decision as to when to do that. She is gravid, and they do lay eggs within 30 days. And so within a month, she should lay her eggs. And the question I have for myself is, do I put her through the stress of medication before she lays eggs, or do I wait? And this is a decision that every one of us who bring in wild caught, especially wild caught females, we have to make this decision, because we don't want to mess up her system. We don't want to mess up the eggs. And we don't know what the effect of doing the deparasitization will have on her and her body. Are the medicines easier to process than all the dead bodies of everything that you killed? That's called necrotic shock, to where the medicine works just fine, and then the body has trouble processing all the dying dead parasites. So you got to be careful. I haven't decided when I'm going to do the deparasitization of Daisy. She will need a dose of metronidazole. That's Flagyl, and that's for the flagellated protozoa. And so I will have to get back to you on that. But I interrupt this vlog for some breaking news. While this vlog was being edited, this happened.
We have a poop. We have a poop to the microscope.
We immediately deployed our fecal collection team, and it is on the way to the lab as we speak. I can't say we got much, but gosh darn it, sir, she's a carpet. This is a fecal smear for Daisy. We got this fecal. We're having troubles getting her all hydrated, but then I started just fogging her at night and making it a complete cloud that she was sleeping in, and we got a very nice, healthy fecal sample. Okay, so let's take a look at this high level. Wow. Remember last time we saw all those flagellated protozoa? Oh, I can see them from here. Gosh, look at that. Look at all of them squirming around. Well, let's go ahead and take a look. Yikes! Holy moly. Son of Darrell. Wow. Oh, man. That is like distracting. I don't even... Yeah. All right. So I'm going to go back up a bit in decrease magnification and look for some nematode eggs. This is... Sheesh. All right. All right. We know we got a protozoa problem. Let's see. It is interesting that I'm not seeing any nematode eggs. As always, I'm sure I am talking too soon, but the universe is not proving me wrong just yet. Alright, not seeing any. So normally, see in the middle there, I would say, whoa, wait a minute, look at that shape. But it's just too small. And now that we look at it, it's nothing special. And oh my goodness, we're still having a metronidazole party. Get the cocktail, the Flagyl cocktails ready to go. That is, she's got such an infestation of the protozoa that it's actually distracting. All right, this is, I guess I'm glad I'm not seeing any nematode eggs. I'm not seeing any coccidia. This is the magnification where I would expect to see coccidia. Now, of course, we do have the float. Do we have any music we can put this to? Well, let's go to the float, see if we find anything. All right, folks, this is the fecal float. I am speaking to my vlog people. No, you can be part of this. We're looking at poop. Join us. Everybody wants to be part of the
fecal analysis team. Just have so much fun. All right, so we are looking at the float. Remember, the idea behind the float is that we mash up the poop a bunch, put it in a special liquid that has a specific gravity, so the eggs and parasitic matter floats to the surface while the other stuff just sinks to the bottom. And once we put a cover slip on top of the fecal collection tube, we are able to, everything collects. Everything that floats collects on the cover slip. Take it off and put it under the microscope. So at this high level, I would expect to see any nematode eggs. I am not seeing nematode eggs. Couldn't help yourself. Had to come and take a look, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, I did. I love seeing all the good stuff.
Yeah. This is a fecal float. I'm looking for nematode eggs, and I'm not finding any, which is great news for me. Kind of bad news for the vlog people. They're looking at this going, man, where's the action? So let's go ahead and increase magnification. Well, we are magnified. Now we're looking for coccidia. And I'm very glad that this is as boring as it is. I'm kind of surprised. Okay, looks like we have nothing here on the float. We will continue to monitor the situation because we never believe one fecal analysis. All right, folks, onward.
I have just performed a physical analysis on Daisy, and I've taken you with me, and this is something that you can do on any chameleon that you want to analyze to see what their physical health is and whether you should buy them or whether you, if you have them already, whether you should take them to the vet. All right, that is our vlog for the morning. Thank you very much for joining me here. Remember the BioDude coupon code Chameleon10. That's also the coupon code for GoldCoastRoaches.com if you want your dubias. And of course, check CustomReptileHabitats.com if you're interested in the Arboreal XL or L enclosures. Thank you all very much for joining me on this fine Monday morning. The week is best started off with a dose of chameleon goodness, and I hope you enjoyed your dose this morning. Go into the world, be excellent to each other, and I'll see you tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. for the next vlog. Have a great day.